By now, you've probably heard all about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. You might even already be investing in them. But did you know that you could invest in cryptocurrencies through your retirement account? That's right. With iTrust Capital, you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies from a crypto IRA and get all the same tax advantages as a traditional IRA. iTrust Capital allows you to invest in over 24 of the most popular cryptocurrencies, and unlike the stock market, you can buy and sell 24 hours a day. The iTrust Capital platform is easy to use and only takes a few minutes to create your account. Setting up an IRA is free and iTrust fees are low. It's time to start taking control of your financial future. With iTrust Capital, you can get all the tax benefits of a retirement account while investing in crypto. Visit itrustcapital.com to start investing today. That's itrustcapital.com. Taxes and conditions may apply. Fees apply. Cryptocurrencies are a speculative investment with risk of loss. iTrust Capital Inc. does not provide legal investment or tax advice. Consult with a qualified legal investment or tax professional.
Hi, this is Asim.
This is Sujoy.
This is Amrita.
And you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast about the three main Khans of the Hindi film industry.
Amir,
Salman,
And Shara.
Yeah, welcome to Khandaan podcast. We're continuing our other Khan series or non-Khan series. Although this one, I usually call it the non-Khan, but this is the ultimate Khan, so I can't call it. It's the other Khan series now, just because we're doing, Dilip Kumar this episode. And for those that don't know, we did a very terribly managed Instagram live. And there we decided to do Madhumati. And I cannot remember for the life of me what the argument was, but we just kind of got to it, right? Like, how did we reach this decision?
It was because it was, one, it's Dilip Kumar's top three films. Like, he likes the film a lot. Like, he had a conversation with somebody and he basically said that, of all his favorite, of all the movies that he's done, Madhumati is in his top three. Second, we decided on Madhumati because it has a lot of influence on later films, including things like Om Shanti Om, for instance, which is a gateway film for many people who come to Bollywood, weirdly enough. Mm-hmm. And third, I think we just wanted to watch this film, right?
Yeah.
There was also another reason, that because we kind of skirted around the idea of doing Karma or even Mashal, but that's like the later part of Dilip's career.
Yeah.
Or Dilip Sahab's career. So we wanted to see something when Dilip Sahib is at the peak of his, stardom and one of his best performances, as he himself considers it to be. So yeah, that all landed us to Madhumati.
So also I do have to note, maybe people might not know this because we have non-Bollywood listeners and Bollywood listeners, and not everybody is, knowledge about these. But Dilip Kumar, his original name was Yusuf Khan. And so he's also referred to a lot of time as the first Khan.
Yeah.
Fun fact for people who don't know their Bollywood trivia, Yusuf Khan, Prithviraj Kapoor and Shah Rukh's family, his father's family, are all from the same neighborhood in Peshawar in present-day Pakistan.
Yeah, they're technically all Pakistanis. We're claiming them.
Furthermore, useless trivia, which obviously I'm renowned of. If you search Yusuf Khan in Bollywood, the first Yusuf Khan that shows up is Yusuf Khan, popularly known as Zabisco from Amar Akbar Anthony.
Yeah. Yeah, and if anybody wants to hear a Zabisco-related podcast, we can do it. If there's a lot of demand, maybe for the next series we do.
But we don't need a reason to watch Amar Akbar Anthony anyway.
That's true.
Yeah.
By the way, I also got to realize that the guy who plays the actor in Fareb, do you remember the Milind Gunaji movie?
Yeah.
So the actor in that, Faraz Khan, he's the son of Yusuf Khan, as in Zabisco uska baap hai.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, you got me confused. I was like, wait, Dilip Kumar doesn't have any children.
No.
Yeah. Great. So enough about Zubisco. Let's move on back to Dilip Kumar. So Joy always taking us on tangents.
We lure you in with Yusuf Khan, aka Dilip Kumar, but actually it's all about Zubisco.
Exactly.
I'm the variant from the sacred timeline.
Oh God. I mean, let's start with just general thoughts about, Dilip Kumar. And I feel like, honestly, like, maybe we're not the right, at least I'm not the right person on this podcast to talk about him. I severely lack any knowledge about this era of movie making, of all of these golden era things. I never watched it. Like, all I know about it is that my dad loves it. This is kind of his era of movies. I'm more of like, an Amitabh kind of guy. That's where my Bollywood started. And also because we didn't have access to satellite channels or video VHS that much. Again, people have mentioned this. I mentioned a lot of times, I didn't grow up in India, Pakistan. I grew up in Belgium. It's been a long time I've mentioned it, so I think it's okay that I mention it again. So I never watched any of these movies except for the 5-6 movies there were my dad had, and as a kid, they would just seem very, very boring to me. So I just had like a bias, like, this is for old people. This is not what I want to watch. So I never really connected with it. So I was actually really excited to kind of go back. But Amrita, what is your knowledge of Dilip Kumar? What do you feel about him? What do you know about him? Were you excited to go, rewatch his movies for this episode?
I mean, Dilip Kumar is one of the original, like, hot targets for gossip, right? Like, there's like so much gossip about him. There's from like every era of his life, actually. But also, like, he's also one of those people, I think, like, today when we talk about people who are in the news for gossip, we also assume that they are not as talented as people whose work speaks for themselves. But Dilip was Ashok Kumar was like the original Ashok Kumar was the original big star of Hindi cinema, like the first like guy for whom people would scream and like, everybody would mob him when he went out, kind of a thing. But Dilip Kumar was like the young, the hot new thing when he came out. And it was a feat considering that he came out around the same time as Devanand and Raj Kapoor, who were also like similarly huge stars. But Dilip just stood out because even within those three, he was clearly like the superior talent, like he, and you can see that his acting style was a total departure from everything that came before. And he was just electric on screen. The sad thing is, of course, that, he had that journey that I think every single big star before and since has had, which is that, like you come in as a young Turk and then you sort of age into a bit of a caricature of yourself. So I think like a lot of people who know him from the later films from the, I would say the 70s onwards, 70s, 80s, he stopped working in the early to mid 90s. So people who know him from those, from that era of Hindi cinema, your Mashal and your Saudagar, etc., they don't know what he was like as a young man, I think. Yeah. And I think like Dilip Kumar as a young man is like, he honestly was like nothing that had come before.
He is often considered like the benchmark of Bollywood acting when it comes to male acting. Even like in interviews that Rishi Kapoor used to give, he would say like Raj Kapoor would instruct him strictly, saying "Mujhe Yusuf chahiye," and like that's the benchmark of Hindi male acting or male superstar acting. You would say even Shah Rukh used to get compared to obviously he did Devdas, which is also an iconic Dilip Kumar role. So he's always been considered like the standard.
I think the thing about Dilip is that unlike say Raj Kapoor and Devanand, he didn't hide behind a persona. So he was just like purely acting, depending on what the role demanded, rather than Raj Kapoor had the tramp figure that he modeled on Charlie Chaplin, and then Devanand has his very like Devanand. There's a Twitter thread a couple of days ago.
I was just about to say about that thread. It was amazing. I read through that.
Shiv Ramdas did this thing about like meeting Devanand for the first time, and he realized within like 2 seconds that Devanand wasn't actually acting in any of his films, and he was just Devanand on screen. And I'll send you the link if I can find it, but it was hilarious. But basically, like for actual acting, it's I think Devanand, and I know that Amitabh Bachchan has said that that he modeled himself on Devanand in his acting, and he tried to emulate Dilip Sahib, and Shah Rukh has said that, and like a lot of people have said that.
I think I watched CID not too long ago, right? And we were discussing it on the podcast, and I mean, I had a lot of trouble with Devanand as a performer in that movie, and I've never understood his appeal at that time. Dilip Kumar, honestly, so when we decided on doing Madhumati, I actually ended up watching his movies the whole week. So every day I've watched a bit or some movie of his, just to kind of like get a bit more familiar with his work and his style. And I immediately got Dilip. All of the charm and all of I understand why people went totally gaga over him. It's immediately clear. And I was reading somewhere that he kind of was the pioneer of method acting, and he brought it in India even before Brando did. Brando, I think Streetcar Desire was like in the early 50s, and Dilip Kumar was making movies a bit earlier already than that. Which I had, when you think of the method, you always think of Brando, but Dilip was basically doing it earlier than him. And a lot of people compare Shah Rukh to Dilip, and I get even that. Like, I get it. Like, I get that comparison that way. He has a very kind of loose sense of acting. Whereas Raj Kapoor, I think he's kind of become more like a director, filmmaker. Devanand has become kind of a cartoon. Dilip Kumar has really stayed like a very kind of like gracious actor, at least how I see it. I don't know, is that wrong in my assumption, Amrita or Sujay?
I think you tend to associate styles of acting with particular eras of cinema, right? So if you look at classic Hollywood classics from the 50s and 60s, well, I haven't seen many, but you get to see all these clips, and there's a funny way of how they talk. There is a sing-songy routine to how they talk, and they kind of, I think there was a video essay on Vox or something about why they did that, because they were kind of post-war trying to find a way of, this is how Americans should talk, etc. And I think that was also the way, in the classical era of, this is how, people who can eloquently talk on screen should talk. And I think Dilip Kumar led the way with that, because of his way of speech is so clear, his body language. And like a couple of days ago, he uploaded from his official account a scene from a movie called Paigam, and you can see the body language. And that scene, even though it's from a movie from 1958-59, it doesn't age, because it's so timeless the way he expresses. It's melodramatic, obviously, but even then, the style of acting is something else.
Yeah, it's a very modern sensibility. I think Dilip Kumar and Uttam Kumar are like the two people that I always think of as people who are working in a very like set kind of like a stylized kind of era, because all of them were like, all the movies, all the actors, they all were like incredibly stylized. And then these two people come in and immediately you see how different they are, because they have such a modern sensibility of what it means to be on screen and what it means to perform. And I think modern audiences, like if you're not familiar with classics of Hindi cinema or Bengali cinema, and you find it difficult to get into black and white films, these two would be my top recommendations for people trying to get into that kind of cinema, because it's immediately understandable to modern audiences, I think.
Two things I also noticed that watching his movies, that he also has his affectations, like his little things that he does. Like he tends to touch his hair a lot, or his face, and also his arms on his hips. He does that a lot, but it never feels put upon. Like it feels that's probably what he does. He's just a very natural performer. Whereas I never have that feeling with Devanand or even Raj Kapoor, for example. I really feel that they're putting on a persona, although it is the person that he was, Devanand, according to that thread. It just seems very unnatural, where Dilip Kumar, you just feel that that's how he would act that scene out, which just seems very fresh and modern, like you said, Amrita. The other thing I also realized watching his movies is that now I finally get, when uncle types are saying these cheesy lines, what they're supposed to sound like. But basically they come off as pervy, but Dilip Kumar, this is what they were trying to go for. Like, okay, now it all kind of makes sense to me. So that was kind of an interesting realization, that basically they're trying to be Dilip Kumar and failing miserably at it. And the third thing I noticed, and I watched Kohinoor, and I watched Madhumati, and I watched part of Azad and a few others. I just kind of skipped through. I watched a few interviews and all, and speeches of his. He was terribly handsome, like Dilip Kumar, right? Like for that era, like it's striking. Like he's a strikingly beautiful man, and obviously that really also plays into your favor when you want to become like this huge star. So that
you were talking about like how you wanted to talk about Andaz maybe when we were discussing, like the movie for the week. And there is this one scene, like one shot, it's not even the full scene, just one shot of Dilip Kumar sitting at a piano, and he doesn't do anything, he's just playing the piano, and he looks up at Nargis in that film, and with a little smile, a little smirk. And I swear to God, it's one of the most beautiful, like male representations on screen, because it's sex appeal, and why Raj Kapoor spends his entire film convinced that Nargis is cheating on him with Dilip Kumar, because it's absolute, like, you're like, yeah, of course, like, of course she's cheating on you with Dilip Kumar, like, look at him.
It's basically that meme, the guy she tells you not to worry about. That's what that movie is.
Oh my God, you should do that. You should do that for Twitter. Do that.
I'll do it, but Sujoy won't post it, man.
You guys always come for me.
Sujoy's social media bank is going to be like Prince's vault, Apparently there's like 10,000 tracks on there that's never been released. That's what like Sujoy's meme account will be. Oh God. He's very, very pretty. I gotta say that. Because also that's like all of the movies I've until now watched of him, it really plays on that idea that women immediately fall in love with him. Like immediately. It doesn't take like a beat, right? And again, it just makes sense. Like he doesn't need to, run after women. Like
Not only fall in love with him, but like, shaadi kab kar rahe ho? When are we getting married?
It's also because he had sex appeal, Like, I know that Devanand was probably a freak in real life, but it's really like, that entire era is sort of built upon men being as, like, if you're the hero, then you're as little sexually threatening as possible, like you're like right next to sexless as much as possible.
But I feel, speaking about freakiness, you kind of like pushed me in the corner, and now I'm very comfortable in this. I feel if Dev Anand is a freak, he probably still has a mirror in the bed and he looks more at himself than at the person he's with. And that's the problem. Dev Anand doesn't. Dilip Kumar doesn't. Dilip Kumar will give you full attention. Dev Anand won't. He spent his time looking in the mirror.
Oh dear.
Dilip Kumar is the Batman of our podcast discourse.
Dev Anand is that scene in American Psycho, remember, when he's like flexing in the mirror and looking
and he flexes his muscle and kisses it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Another like slightly related Dilip Kumar trivia that I found out whilst I was on the commute. So Dilip Kumar was apparently offered the role of what's his name, Sharif Ali in Lawrence of Arabia, which went on to win the Best Supporting Actor for Omar Sharif, but Dilip Kumar obviously had other commitments and didn't go through with that.
Man, can you imagine what that would have been like?
Because wasn't Omar Sharif like also kind of a sex symbol for a lot of like women
mom
then? Like,
was like super in love with him.
Imagine if Dilip had done that, like, I think it would have been like an entry point for a lot of Indian heroes to make. I mean, that would have been the first crossover that would have actually worked.
Yeah.
Like it could have been something. But yeah, unfortunately, it was never meant to be. Amrita, you were mentioning he was like the first point of contact for like gossip. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I don't know anything, and the way you make it sound, it makes him sound like Kartik Aaryan or something like that.
No, I mean, like, the first thing was obviously his love affair with Madhumati, right? Like, that was a huge deal. Like, like everything that you can imagine. Plus, like, there was a lawsuit. There was like, lovers separated by an uncaring family. Madhubala's family still talks about him to this day. Like his sisters like curses him out every time,
Why? What happened exactly? Give me, like, translate this in contemporary terms for me. Like, what is happening? I don't know anything about this affair. I don't, I barely know who Madhubala is. So please tell me more. What happened with the family?
Shame. Madhubala was basically the only earner for her family, right? So they were, they were one of those like impoverished but conservative families. So, like, हमारे यहाँ लड़कियाँ ऐसी करती हैं, but then also like, like हमारे यहाँ this girl needs to go and like work because we are all on the verge of starvation. So
like very Sitafal milkshake kind of situation.
Yeah. So Madhubala like met Dilip Kumar, and obviously he was Dilip Kumar, she was Madhubala. Obviously sparks flew. But Dilip Kumar was also a man from Peshawar, right? So he is like, fine, you get we'll marry, and then you will sit at home because I don't want an actress wife. I'll marry you even though you're an actress, but obviously you can't do that. And then Madhubala went home and was like, Yusuf wants to marry me, and like everything is fine, like he's Muslim, I'm Muslim, like everything is great, but also he wants me to stop working. And so here's where things, like change, because her family says that Dilip Kumar basically said that you can, after marriage, you can't talk to your parents anymore because they're exploitative and abusive. So you need to like cut contact with them and like come live with me. And her sister says, like what girl will just do that, like, and also she still had, she had like a bunch of sisters who hadn't married, and if she stopped working, then how would they get married, like, etc. And then his side of the story is that he asked her to marry him and stop working. And then her dad was like, how dare you? She needs to work for our family. Like, you are not going to take care of us. So, no, you can't marry her.
So there's another story to that. So like during the shooting of Naya Daur, right? Madhubala was already signed in as the lead actress, and they had a outdoor shoot planned, and Madhubala had already been paid in advance for the being signed as the female lead. And then there was the outdoor shoot which was supposed to happen in Bhopal, and B.R. Chopra, who was the director of the movie, had asked for it, but Madhubala's father objected to it, and he's basically said the entire outdoor shoot was an opportunity so that Dilip Kumar could romance his daughter, and so he disagreed to it. So B.R. Chopra then sued Madhubala, and then Dilip Kumar spoke against Madhubala and her parents. So then they split on those terms because of the whole Naya Daur court case that happened. And that was like the end of their 7-year-long relationship, officially, as such.
Yeah. So her dad was like basically her manager. So he was like, they can't work together anymore and everything. And then when the Naya Daur thing happened, like they had to take sides. And it was also scandalous because when, this this is such 1950s style scandal, but he was deposed in court and he was asked if he's actually in love with Madhubala. Like, what is, like, every time I come across this thing, I'm like, what business is it of yours or of the court or anything, like,
and how does it even matter? How is it related with Naya Daur,
And apparently the lawyer was like, are you in love with Miss Madhubala? And Dilip Kumar said, I'll love her until her last breath or something. And
my God.
Yeah.
That's such a Dilip Kumar thing to say, right? In court.
And the thing is, I'm sure Dilip Kumar delivered that line so convincingly, and anybody else would be like cheapu. But I'm sure he did it like with full conviction.
Like imagine Kartik Aaryan saying that in court.
No, but that line is iconic. Like, literally, like, it was the headline in every newspaper, and it is the most quoted line ever. Like, everyone talks about, like, he said that he would love her until her last breath. Like, how is that possible? Blah, blah, blah. Like, everybody knows that line. It's like dialogue bazi, basically, but in real life. So obviously, like, there was also like, he humiliated her in public by like, uska naam uchhal diya, etc. So that was like this whole thing. And then they broke up, and she married Kishore Kumar a couple of years later, against the wishes of her father. And then that marriage didn't end particularly well either. And then he married Saira Banu. And that was a scandal because Saira was way younger than he was. And also Saira is like, this is like, one of those people who people are like, where is she from? Who are her people? And this is like 1960s, 1970s India, right? So everybody's all like...
So she's Katrina Kaif.
Exactly.
Using contemporary terms.
Exactly. So everyone's like, ye kahan se aayi hai? Like,
kahan ko jayegi? Na jaane.
And it wasn't even like hush-hush gossip, Like, my dad remembers, like, when they got married at their wedding, there was apparently, like, all these political figures were invited and all. It was like a grand wedding, like Dilip Kumar getting married. It was a huge deal. And all these ministers and all came, and apparently they were the ones, like, apparently one, I can't remember who it was, but one particular minister was like, like very happy with, said that he was very happy to meet her mother, but he wondered who her father was or where he was and stuff like that, like people,
at the wedding.
Like,
he's like asking this at the wedding.
Like, biryani bhi khai, and then he's like, baap kaun hai, like, like, what the hell, man? Like, people are just, like, I can't stand uncles, and this is why. Anyway, so then what happened was in the 80s, by then they didn't have any children. And they'd been trying for years, I guess. And in the 80s, what happened was news broke, like he didn't announce it or anything, but a news broke that he'd secretly married another woman because he wanted children and he couldn't have them with Saira. And Saira Banu basically went to the press and she was just furious, and she was like, I can't believe that Dilip Sahib did this to me, like, you know, like kept a second woman, etc., etc. And then eventually he divorced that second wife and went back to Saira. But there's been like a whole bunch of like stuff.
I read about that when I was kind of like doing a bit of research, and I was really, really shocked to hear that happened, because the way Saira and Dilip's marriage is portrayed is like the love of, you know, like there's a bit of mythologizing around it, I feel. So I was quite surprised that after the marriage he married somebody else for like a couple of years or months or something like that. So I was quite shocked when I read that. I did not know. So yeah, it's things, man. Sometimes everybody wants to be a man whore, right? Like sometimes there's moments people slip. Okay. So I mean, the other thing I also noticed when I was watching his movies is that I've made this joke before that everybody looks so old in movies, like you cannot figure out their age. And I was getting mad, like, you know, because we do the Khandaan podcast, and every time we hear, you know, these Khans are too old, they should stop acting. Dilip Kumar was like 40 when his movies are like in Kohinoor. He's like 40 and he's playing like some young prince that's about to become a king. He's like, these guys were also old, man. Like, it's crazy. And they were like playing college guys because they put a sweater over their shoulders. Like, fraud, sab fraud hai. Give our Khans 40 more years. Let them romance whoever they want. Let them romance Sonakshi Sinha's daughter. I'll take it.
What my cousin says, right? So he's like, in my memory, Raj Kapoor was born old.
Yeah. My Maroom Chacha used to say, Pedaishi Budde the.
That's the word.
Yeah. So yeah, all surprising. What are you guys' favorite like Dilip movies or roles or, you know, appearances? Sujoy, any top of your head that you like the most?
I won't. I won't say Karma or Saudagar, by the way. Yeah. I think Mashal is there. It was my pick because it's just such an iconic scene. It's very like anybody can like a lot of people like mimic that scene. It just is a Yash Raj movie. It's so much full of drama. That movie is like one of my favorites, and from his like older sort of roster of movies, I think Mashal is definitely up there. I wouldn't say Kranti. It's such a terrible movie. What else? Ram or Sham is there. Ganga Jamuna, Naya Daur, and obviously Mughal-e-Azam.
Do you really like Mughal-e-Azam, or are you just adding it to the list to get like no jute?
Yeah, I mean, they like it, love it, hate it, but there's no ignoring it in a way. You know, it's up there as one of the most ambitious pieces of, you know, art. Not just its cinema. It's just
because Mughal-e-Azam sometimes it feels to me like Bahubali, where it's not Prabhas's movie anymore, right? It becomes like something bigger. Like I don't know. I was watching seeing some trade analysis on Twitter, and people were like 100 crore crabs, and Prabhas has done so many. I was like, Bahubali is. I don't feel this is Prabhas's movie at all. You know, it's Rajamouli's movie, and I feel Mughal-e-Azam is just bigger than any one actor's, right? Like even Sholay, I don't feel that's Amitabh's movie or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes these movies become so big that they don't want. Like I don't know, Amrita, what do you feel about that?
But even then, it doesn't diminish the part that
performance
Dilip Kumar plays as Salim in Mughal-e-Azam, right? He is up there being such a crucial ingredient to the broth.
Yeah, I think
Amrita?
like it's just like every time I watch Mughal-e-Azam, and I probably watch it like once every 10 years or something, you know, like that's been the rate. Like not consciously, it just works out that way. And every time I watch it, like I am stunned by Dilip Kumar's performance in that film, because the way he plays Salim, it is unlike any other portrayal of that character that I have ever seen. And he plays him, you know, like from the first scene that you see him to like the last, you know, the arrogance, the you know, the intoxication, the romance, everything, you know. There's this one shot that I remember, you know, like when Pyar Kiya To Darna Kya is going on, and he looks at Prithvi Raj Kapoor from the corner of his eye, you know, when she's dancing, and he's just maintaining a poker face, like you can't make out anything on his face, but all he does is just look at Prithvi Raj Kapoor from the corner of his eye, and then switches his attention back to Madhubala dancing. And it is one of the finest takes that I have ever seen, you know, like there's so much included in that one glance where, you know, he doesn't know what's happening. He is, you know, he obviously is entranced by her, but he's afraid for her. He doesn't know how his father's going to react. He can see his father's furious. And then he cuts his eyes to the woman who's like responsible for that entire thing. And you just see like, there's literally like, he does like maybe like, there are like 3 shots of him in that song. But he does like so much in those 3 shots. It's wild.
And I mean, I have not watched Mughal-e-Azam in a while, but the way I remember it, because we were talking about his method and natural acting, I feel Mughal-e-Azam might be something counterintuitive to that, no? Is it a bit more like regal and stale and kind of theatrical?
Yes.
Or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, right? So even for
much.
him as an actor, it might be, you know, counter to his natural inclination as an actor. So that maybe also, you know, elevates the performance, I guess.
But there's
also,
like, you can't, like, nobody can, like, I cannot think of a single living actor, and this includes Shah Rukh, whom I think is like the one actor that we have today who can even think about like delivering lines like that. But I honestly cannot think of a single living actor today in Hindi cinema who can deliver the kind of lines that, you know, like every single person in Mughal-e-Azam was like throwing around. You know, much less like the lines that Dilip Kumar was saying to Madhubala. Like like when he says those bhari bharkam lines, you really believe it. You know, like you can feel it. But I can't think of anyone who can say those lines today without making it sound like sing-songy nonsense, basically.
It's that was also one thing it hit me so hard watching these movies, is the command of Urdu and Hindi, right? Like, that's the main problem. There's nobody else now. I mean, probably the last one was, you know, like Amitabh or something like that had that full grasp of, you know, Hindi and Urdu and diction. And since then, it's not really like, Shah Rukh gets the closest. But even then, like, if you just compare his Devdas to the original Devdas, it's not close, right? Like, the delivery is not close. And maybe Shah Rukh felt the pressure, maybe the direction wasn't at that level, but it's not, you know, you can't compare it. So Shah Rukh is the closest we have, but this is like just a whole new level. It's insane to hear it. It's amazing. It's beautiful, and it's like, this is how it's supposed to be. So yeah, it's good. Shall we move on to Madhumati, our main review, or anything else I forgot? Because there's so much. We could keep talking about like generalities for an hour long. But shall we move on to the main review, or anything else you want to
I
talk
have
about?
just one more trivia related to Dilip Kumar, and that is, so Dilip Kumar's brother is Nasir Khan. He married Begum Para, and their son is Ayub Khan.
Yes. and Pitu wants to do him next on one of the non-Khan movies. Like if she comes back, she wants to do a Ayub Khan movie,
Obviously,
right?
and I can already tell which movie she would choose, and it's Salma Pe Dil Aa Gaya.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
Moving on.
Also, just shows you that nepotism only goes that far, right? Like, you know, cool. Madhumati. Let me find. Oh, by the way, one movie I really liked of his. Because you guys didn't ask me the question, but I loved Vidhata. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing. Like as a kid, like the Amrish Puri chasing Suresh Oberoi with horses scared the bejesus out of me. Like it haunted my dreams. Like how terrifying that was, and him just taking revenge to that level, I thought was like amazing. Like I love that movie, and I feel people don't talk about it enough. Like they talk about Kranti and all of these early Subhash Ghai movies, but Vidhata was the bomb, man. That movie was so good.
So, which movie was it when Suresh Oberoi has his hand cut off? We talked about it in one of the podcasts.
Lavares.
Lavares.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Amrish Puri was chasing him.
By the way, Lavares, Amitabh has the same job that Dilip has in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Anyway, so let's get to Madhumati. This was released in 1958. It was directed by Bimal Roy, stars Dilip Kumar, Vyjyanthimala, Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
No, the IMDb shifted, and Pran, and a few others. But so this is, I would read the plot summary, but it's Om Shanti Om, basically. Like, that's what it is, right? Like, if you take out of Om Shanti Om Kars, then it becomes Madhumati, right? Like that. So, yeah, here there's a small summary. It says, a young man takes shelter in a mansion. I would not say young man, but hey, a man takes shelter in a mansion when a landslide blocks his route to the railway station. Then he finds the mansion familiar and soon learns about the story of his previous birth. This movie is from an era where friends address each other with their job titles. So I was wondering, should we do that on this episode? So Sujoy, data processor and director, what did you think of it? Like, should we address each other as this?
Please don't. Please don't. Like, one of my friends, when I used to have an active Facebook profile, he would put, like, before his name, ER dot to indicate that he's an engineer. And that's the most cringe thing that I've ever come across Facebook, and I've come across a lot. So please don't address me as data
Engineer
processor.
Saab.
Processor Saab.
Processor Saab.
Actually, like, modern professions are like so not suited to this.
Yeah. But in the olden days, they just had three professions, right?
Yeah.
Like doctor, lawyer, mazdoor. That's it. Like tange wala. That's like you had four.
Or Thakur Saab.
Yeah, whatever that is, which is Pran in this one.
Yeah.
Oh god, I had no clue that all of these songs came from this movie.
Yeah.
Oh bloody hell! Suhana Safar is from this movie, really? I had no clue.
Also, like, the moment you start the movie and the whole start credits roll, you can tell, like, 50s and 60s Bollywood cinema belongs to the Bengalis. There's, like, the editor is Rishikesh Mukherjee, director is Bimal Roy, and, like, everybody in the, like, almost 50% is Bengali. Like, the music is by Salil Chaudhary, and the art direction, Sudhendu Roy. Like, wow.
So we picked this movie because I put out a tweet like, which movie should we watch, And surprisingly, somebody called Faisal Farooqi came back to us, and he seems to be the official spokesperson for Dilip Kumar's health. He's a family friend. And he said that he's played this game a lot of times with Dilip Kumar himself, like, what are your best performances? And he mentioned number one Madhumati, second Mughal-e-Azam, the third was Ganga Jamna, which apparently he has also directed, which I didn't know. So that's the reason why we picked this movie, because, you know, if it's Dilip's favorite, we have to kind of go with it. And so Amrita, what did I assume you both have seen this movie tons of times, right?
Yeah. I have seen it twice before my rewatch this time.
Okay. And what was the context? How did you watch this movie?
पापा ने VHS पे लगा दी तो मैंने देख ली उस टाइम.
It's one of those cultural things, you know, like you grow up in India, you'll watch Madhumati at some point. It'll be on TV or somebody will show it, or at least for our generation. I don't know about kids today, but for our generation, it used to be like
uncultured Generation Z, they won't even come up close to. If anything is in black and white, they won't come close to it.
No, but it's also the fact that, you know, where would you go? Like, you know, like, kahan jayenge? There's nothing else to do. Like, you know, my kid is like 5 minutes. She's like, Papa, can I have my iPad? And I was like, yeah, sure, beta, go. You know, like, there's more options. So I get it.
For sure.
Like, the whole idea of family night, you need to like have like tons of snacks to keep them engaged. Otherwise, it's not going to go.
But also, like, I would like to mention something about Madhumati is that, you know, it's available for free to stream on Shemaru. It's a remastered print. Like, it's been cropped to fit the 16:9 aspect ratio, but the audio in it is so terrible. I had to watch it with subtitles, without which I could not understand what the hell were these people saying.
I had real trouble because I've gotten used to subtitles and I just like having them on, and just the audio is so bad.
Yeah.
And I really struggled a few times because there's some key plot points that go really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what happened? How did this happen? So you had to kind of like, I had to really listen to it. And yeah, the audio is so bad. And I think this is a problem with, you know, just film conservation as a whole. Like, we don't have a criterion. We don't have, like, you know, a TCM kind of remastering, restoring these movies. And it's a shame because, like, these movies really still hold up, but the audio access to them really hurts. Like, if you even want to revisit them, it makes it really, really hard. And back when you guys were watching it on a small ass TV on VHS, it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But now when you've really blown it up to, you know, 65 inches or something like that, LCD, then it really starts, you know, it's not a nice experience. What did you guys think about, you know, Amrita, what did you think of revisiting the movie for this episode?
I mean, I watch Madhumati every couple of years. Like, you know, like I start missing it and I'll watch it. Like, I genuinely like this film. It's entertaining. It never bores me. And like, even the comedy bits, I don't mind, you know. And this time around, I was actually thinking that this is movie making of a kind that we never see these days, because it really takes its time. Like, you know, like we were talking about how it's like 3 hours long, etc. But that 3 hours is really spent on building the relationship between Dilip Kumar and Vyjyanthimala's characters. You know, like it's not like it's spent on like nonsense things. There's like a real exploration of like, you know, the relationship between the two people, and also the character of Dilip Kumar, and where he's like, you know, like you see how he comes to this little plantation, which like we were just saying, you know, like this is a deep like plantation manager, like takery manager, or like whatever it is that they call it. It's like a very time honored profession in Hindi cinema, where you're just the babuji, and apparently babuji doesn't really need to work. He can just like walk around, like tehlo, gana gao, like flirt with the village maidens. Like, it's a good life. Like it's a like the songs are all bangers. Like I really enjoy it.
Sorry, what about you, Sujoy? Did you enjoy it? Were you watching it?
Like, I didn't expect the audio to be that bad, but I was all like, throughout the movie, there was enough breaks with the songs that kept me engaged. But other than that, obviously the climax of this movie is one of the most famous ones in Bollywood cinema, and it still works for me. It's eerie. It's like I know what's going to happen, but that there is a long ass smile plastered on the face of Vyjyanthimala as she, he keeps on asking what's happening, and she just keeps smiling and then disappears into thin air. That really still works. I think like there are portions of this movie which are very much era appropriate, like the Johnny Walker comedy shtick and like the whole Kabila dancing and all of that. But yeah, I think Madhumati is still very, very watchable.
And it's genuinely like scary at points, like
Yeah.
the opening sequence where they're like walking up to the Haveli. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you people? Like, kya kar rahe ho tum dono? Like, go back to the car and like lock yourselves in. Like, what are you doing? And they're
But
just like,
they are the ones who are almost creating that format, right? In the 1950s, they haven't seen the Conjurings of the world or the Evil Deads of the world.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I'm such a modern film watcher. Like, it takes me, I struggle with connecting with old cinema a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that I watched like Kohinoor before it, because it switched like a mental switch in my brain that this is the pacing of it. I'm glad I didn't watch Madhumati straight away, because I would have a lot more issues with it. Like the framing device itself, right? Like, it's almost bookended, like with these small sequences, and it doesn't really. It doesn't, like, if I was comparing it to Om Shanti Om again, which is, I'll probably be doing it a lot because that's kind of my my reference point. The framing device there becomes more Karzish, right, where it's about this active revenge that's being taken, and here it seems to be more about just kind of like tragedy, like an unspecified tragedy, or like love still finding its way, which I kind of like. It felt more how do you call it, like esoteric compared to like more active revenge based Kars or Om Shanti Om, right? It seems more poetic in a way, and then also just it takes its time, like Amrita says, and you need to really sit with the movie, and you do get anxious, you're like, should I check? And it wasn't even that I'm like, the movie was engaging me, but I wasn't like scrolling on Twitter or anything like that. But I was like, oh, I should go to Wikipedia, figure out that reference, or which other movies was Vyjyanthimala, and those kind of things that I'm like constantly feeling like, oh, because this is going slow, I have 5 minutes to dip into more research and get more out of the movie, and I would lose track of what was happening. So it is slow, it's taking its time, but it is engaging all the way. So even if you lose the focus of it, you will miss out. So it does demand a little bit more, and I'm not sure all modern audiences are used to that kind of engagement. Okay, can we talk a little bit about Vyjyanthimala? Because again, this is... So you mentioned Madhubala before. I was asking you, which other actresses Dilip had like amazing pairing with. Nargis we've mentioned, where does kind of Vyjyanthimala stand in that era of, movie making? Can you give me like a modern equivalent of who Vyjyanthimala was back in that time?
Amrita?
Or is
I'm
there none?
thinking.
Like, is she was just like a...
She's just like I would say like maybe... Like, not in terms of, like, acting or anything, but I would say maybe, like, Anushka. Like, one of the top actresses, but also, like... Yeah, I don't know how
Not
to...
the top,
Yeah,
like...
exactly.
Yeah, okay, I get it, what you mean, yeah. And honestly, I'm asking these questions also because I really feel this is, like, not everybody that listens... Like, people would... or like would love to have us do like a whole Dilip Kumar season or a whole Raj Kapoor season, but I've been podcasting for a long time. People do not listen to those episodes, so this is why I'm trying to like connect it with the modern era a little bit so people can like figure out what this is. But okay, so that's kind of an interesting. So she was very popular, but not like the most popular. Who were the most popular? Madhubala, I imagine, right?
Yeah.
Who else?
In the 50s?
Yeah, in that era.
Meena Kumari and Madhubala, I would say, were like the top heroines.
Nargis wasn't in there.
And Nargis, yes, of course.
So Nargis. Okay, good. What did you think of
Nutan, of course? So I would say like Nutan, Vyjyanthimala, Meena Kumari, Madhubala, and then later on in the 60s, well, Vahida started in the 50s, but she only became like a giant star in the 60s, I would say.
Yeah, because I watched Kohinoor just before it, and that was with Meena Kumari, and like it was kind of a come down for me to watch Vyjyanthimala after Meena Kumari, because I felt she was like so amazing, and even in that role she got to do so much more. She got to do straight up comedy, which I don't connect necessarily with that era of actresses. It was almost slapstick she was doing in that movie, and here this is kind of like a very Village Belle kind of role she's playing for at least like 70% of the movie, and it just wasn't necessarily a character that appealed to me, and like the way she was performing it was very heightened, so I was just having trouble with connecting like what kind of performer Vyjyanthimala is. Which movie should I watch of her?
So Sujoy and I do this series called Tolly Folly for like Bengali films, and we've talked about Vyjyanthimala's over the top acting. Because she did this film with Uttam Kumar, which he produced, and it is a study in contrasts, is what I would call it. You actually asked him, like, we want to see like comedy in this era of actresses. You really have to see like Madhubala's movies, like Chalti Ka Naam Kadi, Mr. and Mrs. 55, like all those films. She is so incredibly funny.
Half Ticket.
My God, yes.
Wow.
Like it's just it's just they're just some of the funniest films that I've ever seen in my life. As for Vyjyanthimala,
I think my favorite Vyjyanthimala movie would be Jewel Thief.
I was about to say, like that's, but it has like it has like mid-career Devanand in it.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad Devanand. Like I prefer him to the very
But
early.
all those mannerisms are at its peak, in Jewel Thief Devanand.
Yeah. And then, of course, this Devdas, like she plays the Chandramukhi character in Devdas. So,
and I imagine she plays that role closer to the second character she's playing in this, right? Like that. Like I didn't watch Devdas, but I was looking at the screenshots and I felt like there was a similarity more. Where here she's playing like maybe it's just also just that Village Belle kind of like Babuji kind of thing that it just annoys me. Like I don't like that character. It reminds me of Jui Chawla and Bol Radha Bol, that kind of thing.
मैं तो गाँव की गोरी हूँ.
Yeah.
But like where would you place geographically this sort of Village Belle that Bollywood often tries to portray? Like kahan hai
some
ye?
kind of pahadi region, like unspecified.
It's wherever it is, people do not know of shoes there. Like everybody's just like barefoot everywhere in the jungle. Like I don't understand. Either you have like the thickest calluses on your feet, or you get hurt all the time. I don't understand it. Jungles make me nervous. I do not like that. I don't like nature.
And also, what was the creative choice behind making her father black-faced?
It did work as a bit of a comedy to me, because like the first meeting between the two of them, where he's like this woodsman with like an axe, and Dilip Kumar is like, मेरे हाथ में खरोंच है. Like, that was pretty funny. But
I was really wondering if the dad was humoring him, was because he must think he's like a proper pussy. Like, honestly, like, this guy, kahan se aaya hai? Like, he's got a little splinter and I have to take it out with my axe. What the hell?
I did think that, like the scene where like she's like, come home with me, and he's like, okay, and then he's like, I can't breathe, where's your house? As they're like climbing the the nth mountain, and then she's like, look down this cliff, that's where my house is. And he's like, I don't think I can go that way, which is also foreshadowing for what happens in the climax. But like she's like, no, like take my hand and I'll take you down. But it reminded me
and she did.
Yeah, exactly. But like it also reminded me of like going to like Shillong, and like there's this famous trail in Shillong, and they told us that, oh, it's like this very easy trail, it's almost like walking along like the plains, and then we climbed like 5 mountains at the end, and then we were just like, we want to die. What the hell? And the locals were like Vyjyanthimala in this film, they were just like traipsing up and down, and they would literally stop and laugh at us because we were like huffing and puffing like Dilip Kumar. So that's very like true to life.
We when we went to Bangkok, we were my wife went up this mountain temple, which is like, I don't know how many steps, like 8,000, and monkeys attack you and they take your water bottles and things like that. And she was like literally I don't know what the name of the temple is, but Amrita, I'm sure you've heard of I don't know if I think it was in Chiang Mai, yeah. I'll check, but I remember like she was like literally dying and she was about to give up, and just at that moment she saw like a local monk just hop skipping up and down like nothing has happened, with both hands behind his back. And it kind of reminds me of what you're saying about the locals laughing at you. It was like, also this is one thing I noticed first of all, that's what I was going to say. Now I remind myself about the framing device of this movie, right? Because everything in the old era looks so old, I had trouble figuring out when things were happening. You're saying, I don't know where things were happening. I don't know when they were happening because they're already old. This guy has already reincarnated. Did it happen just before he died, like Shah Rukh style? Like he dies and then the baby is like immediately born? Or is this in like the 1800s? Or I had trouble figuring out which era we're exactly in, because old is old and then you're older, part I had trouble with that.
But also, like, when you said about the chapter wise sequence of events, there's a sequence where Pran literally tries to rape Vyjyanthimala in the middle of the forest, right? When he tricks Dilip Kumar to spend time like working overtime or something, and then he goes in the jungle, and Vyjyanthimala like Madhu just barely escapes, and literally the next scene is Dilip Kumar in the forest singing Dil Tadap Tadap Ke.
Yeah.
and Vyjyanthimala just sauntering around. Like, what the hell happened in the previous scene?
I feel like Dilip Kumar is quite chill that Pran wants to rape his like soon to be wife. Like he's quite chill about it. Like, yeah, no, I'll just go. Like, you just chill here. Like, I don't that like, but that's one of the things I've noticed about Dilip Kumar in the movies that I've watched. He seems to be unaffected by any social norms. He just kind of saunters in, and he's like, there's that scene where Vyjyanthimala was supposed to meet him and she doesn't show up, and he just walks into, at midnight, his dad, like her dad is sleeping, he walks into the hut, into the bedroom, and he wakes her up like, Madhu, I was really worried. I was like, dude, I'm like a modern era guy and I still wouldn't do it. Like, the dad has an axe. Like, who does that? Like,
Axe wale papa.
Yeah, like a dude couldn't take a splinter, and now he's just walking in to meet the daughter of a guy with an axe. The guy is literally the dad is like lifting logs with one arm, like in the start, and he's gonna take him on. Like it's a really funny way, the way he doesn't seem to care. It's just like must in his own world. It's interesting.
And in the 50s, like they proposed like that,
One of my favorite things about this whole thing is like, as he's for people who haven't watched the film, what happens is like the movie opens with Dilip Kumar and his friend on their way somewhere through the jungle when their car is blocked by falling trees or something. So while they wait for help to arrive, they go to this nearby abandoned haveli with just a caretaker in it. And they're just waiting to spend the night there, in the warmth, out of the rain. And while they're in that haveli, Dilip Kumar starts getting all these flashbacks. So the entire framing device is that he remembers his past life, and now he's telling the story to his friend while
And
the
the
caretaker while the caretaker listens. And one of the funniest scenes is like at the end where he's like, wrapping up this whole story, and his friend is sitting opposite him and going like, oh really, like this is so interesting. And in the background you see the chowkidar, and the chowkidar is like freaking the fuck out. He's like horrified at what he's hearing. He's like, what the hell is happening?
कौन लोग हैं, कहाँ से आए हैं? They just knock on my door and now they tell me this भूतों वाली कहानी. Like I was just chilling in my room, man.
And also how amazingly well his friend takes it all.
I know.
Yeah. Like Sujoy can tell a story for 3 minutes before I give him shit, and these old doctors are like listening to a 3-hour story about like reincarnation. Is like, yeah, waki mein.
Dilip Kumar was the original Ted Mosby.
Oh god! Can I tell you Asim embarrassing story part 784? So you know that song, Dil Dhadak Dhadak ke keh raha hai aaj,
Tadap Tadap
abhi
ke.
cha. Yeah, that one. I'd never heard that song, right? So the first time I heard that song was when I went to a wedding of my aunt, my khala. And when you have the Mehndi ceremony, for the people that have watched DDLJ, you have like a bride side and a groom side, and they all make songs, they sing songs. It's like a competition, and my aunts were fierce in the competition. Like they were not gonna lose any competition, and honestly, they were the winners every time. Like no bias. But so you also remix the songs. Slightly, you adapt the lyrics, right, guys? That happens in India too, or is this a Pakistani thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the name of that song again?
Dil Tadap Tadap ke.
तड़प तड़प के कह रहा है Abija, meaning come, right?
Uh-huh.
They had changed it because my khala's name is Abida. So I, until 3 days ago, thought the song was Dil Tadap Tadap ke keh raha hai Abida.
Wow.
I did not know.
They just found like the perfect song for this Mehndi.
They won. That's why they won, man. They found the perfect song every time. Respect to hashtag Rabia Yasmin Anisa. They delivered every time. Fierce.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
I thought they were remixing like Bari Barsi Khatan Gaya Si and all of that, but they were actually going for legit Bollywood songs and remixing names into those.
Yeah, it was hardcore, man. And that was before the dandiya. Like the dandiya would happen after this. Like imagine the, groom side, how screwed up they would be. My khalas came full force. Oh God. Pran, we haven't talked about Pran, right? Like this guy, he's a villain because he blows out the most angry dhuein circles I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's like Pran is like the ultimate villain of that era, no? Like, is he not? Or like,
For
he's
sure.
like amazing.
Like every frame he enters, there is a certain sense of dread. Like he doesn't need background music, but there's background music going into this as well, and it's like, wow, you don't mess with this guy.
But also, he's so handsome, yeah.
I don't know about that.
No, he is. Like, Pran's like, like he, obviously because he's a villain and he's like rapey and all, like, obviously people are like, ew. But genuinely, like, he's a very good looking man.
Like, a man has to be Pran level handsome that, Amrita can say, oh, she's just a little bit rapey. I think we figured something out here. Like, you need to be Pran handsome. But yeah, he has that like debonair kind of feel, right? Like, and I really felt bad because he got negged by Dilip Kumar. Like, he just wanted a friend. Like, if he'd been a friend, all of this nonsense would not have happened. He would probably call like Madhu Bhabhi very quickly and all that. But Dilip was having none of it. Like, like I said, he has no understanding of social norms. Like, first of all, again, that was one of those things that I didn't understand. I had to rewind and back. Like, who gave Dilip the job? Like, if it's not Pran, like, I couldn't understand. Like, he became the manager, but Pran didn't give him a job, or like they never had an interview. Like, how does shit happen? Like,
Pran is just
like,
the heir to the estate, right? So he doesn't know about the business. He just owns it. The Thakur died. Maybe he got appointed just before death or whatever. I don't know the logistics of how these operations in the Thakur plantations of the villages go. But I think that's how Dilip Kumar was appointed to the role of the manager.
So Pran's dad hired him before dying.
Yeah.
And then that's how he got the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still not a smart move, Dilip, man. You need to play ball with, the
employer.
Yeah. So yeah, I think rookie mistake over there. And also, like, I found hilarious. Like, guys, I don't know, like, maybe it's because we're in lockdown and stuff like that. You go out to do something, you wear a denim, a jean, whatever. You come home, you wear comfy clothes, right? Dilip Kumar is like making sketches in the jungle, like with a muffler on and like a tight jacket. Like, he makes no effort to integrate where he is. Like, there's no, he's like, just like, I came from the city, I'm gonna remain a city, I'm not gonna wear a pajama. It just never happens.
Yeah.
I just thought that was quite hilarious too.
He's got limited wardrobe choice. But also, like his intro song, Suhana Safar, right? He has the sweater on just like Shah Rukh has it in Mohabbatein. So he's the original Raj Aryan Malhotra of Indian cinema.
Yeah. And you like, it all makes sense. Like, if you watch, like, photos of my dad and his friends, like, they have sweaters on their shoulders. Now I know where it comes from.
Yeah.
They were all trying to be Dilip. What were your kind of like favorite sequences in the movie? Like any scenes that are like, I also was to say, like, this movie is shot beautifully. Like, it is so beautiful. Like, right? Like, because, I mean, like, even like the Haveli, it's clearly a miniature, right? But it looks so like seamless, right? Like, the way it's shot in black and white, like, it can tend to be a bit more. Like, I feel like black and white movie, a lot of times they play a lot with the contrast of the black and white.
Yeah.
But I feel here it just looks beautiful without just playing with the contrast, which I thought was really cool. Were there any sequences that kind of stood out for you that you really liked?
The introduction scene between Dilip Kumar and Madhubala, like their meet cute in the jungle. That was like, like where he's like chasing her through the mist. And then, like he finds her and then she like runs away and disappears in the mist again. Like, that was like very sweet.
So there is a bit on Wikipedia about the filming of that sequence. It's shot in Nainital, and then some of it is shot indoors with a fake forest kind of a set where they introduce the foggy effect with gas bombs, and Vikram Bhatt still does that in Raz movies, So
We're really taking heavy swings here from Vikram Bhatt to... yeah. What else as a talking point about this movie? Anything that we want to talk about?
We haven't talked about the songs of this movie. Like, Asim, which is your favorite song from this movie?
I mean, Suhana Safar. I think I was like singing it the whole time, which is bloody annoying because it's such like like a literal earworm, right? Like it's like Jalebi Baby of that time.
So like, I wrote down this is like Mukesh singing, right? So and Suhana Safar or Ye Mausam hai saying it's the first time of the city guy coming to the village and trying to explore this like an Instagram influencer. And then I wrote "Cook Cook Cook." This is what Fardeen meant.
Yeah, no, it's really, I mean, it works really well. I have to say, like, maybe again, this is my ignorance about this whole thing. But I always connect Rafi with Dilip Kumar as his voice. And I've heard the song many times, Suhana Safar, but it was just like, it just seemed odd to me, although, Mukesh has done lots of memorable songs for Dilip too. But I always connect Rafi with Dilip. Maybe that's just my mistake, but it was just like, it's just, when Salman was always SP Bala and then suddenly he had Kumar Sanu's voice in it, it's like, oh, this feels weird. This is not his voice. But yeah, it was just, Suhana Safar is probably my favorite one. And there's a few other songs that I actually honestly don't care that much about. Even there was the one called Zulmi Sang Aankh Lad Gayi, which Ladi, I didn't really care for that song. And there were like another one where they're like, that's the one where they're in the village like all singing and dancing together, I think.
The Papi
there were a few
song.
songs that sorry?
The Papi Bichua song.
No, that one I liked. The other one. Also, Bichwa, I did not know that was from this movie either. Again, all of these songs that but I didn't know they were in this movie. So amazing soundtrack generally. But there were a lot of songs, and I was like, a few I think I could have fast forwarded, but I was like, no, commitment kar li hai, to I have to watch the whole thing. But it does test your patience sometimes. Yeah. Amrita, what about you?
I can't choose because I grew up listening to the soundtrack. Like I genuinely like, obviously there are like some that are like less favorite than others, but genuinely like I still sing all these songs, like it just comes to me from time to time. I love the soundtrack.
Jungle mein mor nacha seene na dekh. Oh man, that song. So remember the meme that I forwarded you guys with 4 girls dressed in like costume and they're saying तुम्हें कैसे पता हम मैया यशोदा पे नाचने वाले हैं. So Bichua was a very very popular song for girls to dance in our school. In school functions, like every single year Parents' Day the girls used to dance Chad Gayo Papi Bichua. I don't know why. But yeah, that song is such a popular track for all sorts of folk dances and everything.
Salil Chaudhary and S.D. Burman were also like really famous for recording like folk music across India, and then they would like set their compositions to those. So it makes like so much sense that they would use like the Papi Bichwa song is like a little bit like what? But the beat is like very it is very danceable. Sorry, I cut you off. What were you saying?
No, the other song that I really like is Aaja Re Pardesi, Main To Kab Se Khadi. That's such a haunting tune, and like that's the song that when he is missing her or getting haunted by the memory of Madhu, that's the song that plays. It makes so sense. And also the introduction song to Vyjyanthimala's Madhu in the movie. It's all really really good.
Is this the first one of... I think this is one of the first like reincarnation movies or not? Like I think I was reading on Wikipedia that Mahal was the first one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then this kind of made it popular. And like I said, we would not have so many, we wouldn't have Karan Arjun if it wasn't for Madhumati, right? Like that's how important this movie is.
For sure.
I mean, yeah, this was a massive hit. I'm just going through it. It was the highest grossing Indian movie of 58 when it came out. And I was also reading somewhere that this was not like a typical movie for Bimal Roy. Is that correct? This was kind of like this was him selling out in a way.
Yeah, because his other movies are things like Bandini and Sujata and stuff, So you should try those, Asam. Like, you might just like them.
Yeah, no, I'll check it out. And also, it held the record for most Filmfare nomination won for a long, long time. I don't know who took it on afterwards.
Must be something like Kaho Na Pyar Hai or something.
Yeah, something like that. So, yeah, massive hit. Sujoy, you watched it with subtitles? You found a version with subtitles?
Yeah, the one on YouTube has subtitles.
Yeah.
Like auto, like what do you say? Like Google translation or like proper translation?
I think Shemaru uploaded it. Yeah.
Okay. So I think people can check it out if they want to. And honestly, like me, I would. Like, this is not my thing, but I would really recommend people watch this movie. Like, it's not boring. Anything that you think about, like, old-timey movies, I think this is kind of a very good, like, way into Dilip Kumar and his movies, I feel. Although I really appreciated Kohinoor, too. I really thought that was fun. Have you guys seen Kohinoor? I imagine so, right?
I haven't seen.
You have not seen, and I have seen. I knew this from Instagram. I just wanted to end the episode with this, like on a high. Make you guys feel bad. Amrita, any final thoughts on Madhumati? Anything that I've forgotten? Anything you wanted to mention still?
I want everyone to watch it because it's legitimately one of my favorite movies.
You guys forgot to mention, but there was a bit when Dilip Kumar's character, I think it's called Anand Babu. So he's like very, very much on the verge of breakdown, right? He wants to do anything and everything to make it right, find the killer of Madhu. And he goes to the police thana and he's like, give me the pistol for 2 days. I'll come back after murder. Kanun tere baap ka hai?
Which might have worked in 58. I don't know like how the rules were there. Like maybe that just could have worked, maybe.
But I will say the climax scene where, like they do all the drama and everything and they get Pran caught and then he hears Madhu like calling for him and he's like, wo mujhe bula rahi hai. And I'd forgotten that part actually. I don't know why, but every single time I watch it, I forget that part of it. Because my brain just like skips to the ending with the baby. So, and then like he goes up and she's like, come. And I remember thinking like, what a bad bitch, like she's like, yeah, I want justice, but also I want you. So you also come with me, like wherever I'm headed. I'm like, yeah.
Let's bang on the clouds, like that's... There are no mirrors there.
We're going back to Devanand's mirror house.
A callback. Oh god. Anything else, Vijay?
No, I think that's the only note that I have.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I really, I'm not going to make this vow, but I am definitely intending to watch a lot more Dilip Kumar movies. And I think, if people like my takes on them, I know that I'm not like the most serious guy. Let us know by dropping us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. And maybe I could do like a regular feature where every other episode I watch one and I just give my random thoughts about it. Because I really want to watch them. There's a lot of them because I got so many great suggestions, and I feel I still haven't seen enough of him, and watching these 2-3 movies has been really a great experience. So I think I want to go back and watch a lot more of them, and I want to watch Madhubala movies because I've, Chatti Ka Naam Gaadi, I've actually on my list because you recommended it earlier to me, Amrita, so I will go back and watch that too. So maybe we could make this a regular feature that I watch old movies, and give my thoughts about it.
Asim, is the audio on Kohinoor better than how it is in Madhumati?
No, it's as bad. It's
okay.
as bad. Well, lots of it's really fun. Kohinoor is really fun. It's like, those swashbuckling kind of movies, like Rajkumar, Anil Kapoor's with Madhuri, that kind of thing. But one that actually works. It's long, like all of those era, but and the songs aren't as great as Madhumati's, but it's really, really fun. And Dilip is funny. There's straight up slapstick in it, like Benny Hill kind of slapstick comedy. I think it was Ruchi that recommended it, our friend Ruchi, who's also been on the podcast before. And I gotta say, it's a great call. I think maybe our listener Abdullah also said Asim will like it, so he always has the pulse on us, so he knows us really well. So I really appreciated that too. Maybe we can talk about it more in a future podcast. But yeah, let's wrap it up. Let us know if anything that you covered, any gossip, any news about Dilip Kumar that we didn't cover that you want us to tell. I would love to hear these old era stories about these guys, and I think a lot of our listeners might know a lot more than I do, so I'd love to hear it. Drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. Amrita, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at AmritaIQ, and also on YouTube, where I have my book channel called Amrita by the Book.
Sujoy?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at 9e3k, and you can follow Khandaan Podcast on Instagram and TikTok at Khandaan Podcast.
Yeah, so new episodes are dropping pretty much every week. I think next week we're going to be like a what we were watching and trailer review and that kind of thing. I've watched some really cool things, so I'm actually excited to talk about it next time. And thanks for listening, everybody. I hope this was fun, and I hope we weren't too disrespectful, except about Dev Anand, because he seemed like a douche anyway. But thanks for listening anyway.
Wow.
Thank you.
Khandaan Podcast for everyone. Podcast.
Thank you for listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast. You can find us on your preferred platform from iTunes to Spotify and beyond. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel where we host our live streams from time to time, and our Instagram account for announcement and clips.
It's the biggest March ever. Big premieres, big families, and big surprises. This month on Disney Plus, stream blockbusters like West Side Story, Free Guy, and Disney's Encanto. As well as original movies and series like Olivia Rodrigo Driving Home to You, Cheaper by the Dozen, Pixar's Turning Red, and Marvel Studios' Moon Knight. All of these and more streaming this month on Disney Plus.